Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Whitney with That Whitney Life. First of all, I apologize for not getting a video out on Saturday. I'm trying to do Wednesday and Saturday and it's working pretty well. But the time just got away from me. I do have a full-time job. So I tried to scurry and make one for Sunday and I hated that video. So I didn't want to put something out that I'm not proud of. So I just decided not to do it. But this one, on the other hand, I am very proud of. I think it turned out so beautiful. I'm so stoked for you guys to see this. So I will put the inspiration for it up. I'll pop a picture up there. I have this huge wall that's probably about a 15-foot wall, and it's been blank for a long time. I just couldn't figure out what I wanted to put there that would be large enough for this wall. I mean, it's very large. It's long. It's a long wall. And so I'll pop a picture up of what that looks like too. So I finally figured it out on Pinterest. Now, the ones that they had on Pinterest were so expensive. Even like the DIY one was around $125, and if you bought it new, it was like $400. So, you know, I can't believe that I made this for under $60. And you guys are probably like, well, what the heck is it? Shut up and let me see. So that's what I'm going to do.
Okay, so I went to the Dollar Tree and I bought a lot of frames. I got 27 8x10s and then 30 5x7s. So obviously you can do as little or as much as you want, but I needed this to be pretty long, so I got a lot. I'm unwrapping and taking everything out and leaving just the frames. And I'm going to do 3 panels of 9 frames with the 8x10 and then 2 panels of 15 frames with the 5x7. So I'm using the combination of E6000 and hot glue. You guys have seen me do this quite often. It works so well. But make sure you flip the frames upside down so they're face down and glue them in rows of 3. Do 3 rows of 3 just side by side. The longest part of this whole project is going to be dry time. That's why it took me so long, is because I had to paint it, all the glue, just the dry time took forever because I want to let the E6000 cure for about 24 hours. So this does take a while. And once you have that done, I'm going to take some popsicle sticks and glue these to the back of this. This is just going to give it some extra stability. I will say that the Dollar Tree frames are pretty flimsy. This project, I put my blood, sweat, and tears in this because I wanted to cry a few times because it was falling apart. Nothing a little hot glue couldn't fix. However, the larger the frame from Dollar Tree, the more flimsy it is. So, you know, they were breaking sometimes, and I mean, at least it was a clean break in the corners so I could glue it back together, but just throwing that out there. Now I'm moving on to the 5x7s. I'm going to use that same glue combination, and make sure you're putting the glue, I guess, towards like the back of the frame, you could say, because you don't want the glue to squish out the front. Some will, and that's just how things are going to happen, and that's okay. But to minimize that, make sure you are being careful of your glue placement. Now, for this, I'm going to do 5 rows of 3 frames. So we're going to have 15 frames per panel. So we have 2 panels of 15. This project was probably like one of the toughest ones to film because it is so big that just the camera couldn't capture, or at least, you know, maybe I'm just bad at camera angles. I mean, I'm still learning, so that could probably be it. But I kept getting out of camera because this thing was so long. It was like, I think it was probably about 4 feet long or so. I wasn't going to be super worried about it because I think you guys sort of got the idea of what I'm doing, and, you know, you saw the most part of it. So I know you're all very smart people and you can figure it out. And then again, you're going to go in with those popsicle sticks and a lot of glue. I'm telling you guys, my fingers were so sore Just the amount of glue that I use. And my glue gun is actually kind of terrible. I really need a new one. It's so old. I've had it for years. And it's just a really cheap one. I think I paid like $3 for it or something. So now I'm going back and pulling out those prongs that hold the picture in. You can do this like the first step, but I was just lazy and I didn't feel like it. But they pull out pretty easy. There was just a lot of them, so it kind of took a bit of time, a little bit tedious, but it really wasn't that bad. And now I'm taking some Gorilla Glue, this is wood glue, and I'm filling in the gaps in the 8x10 panels. They had pretty large gaps. The 5x7s didn't, so I didn't worry about this step, but I did on all the 8x10s, and I did do it twice. So I did once and then let it dry, and then I did it again. Now I'm going to paint, and a gold star to anybody who can guess what kind of paint I'm using. That's right, Rust-Oleum chalk paint in linen white, and I'm going to give them 2 good coats. I didn't let this completely dry in between. I mean, I gave it, probably an hour or 2 of dry time, which is enough for chalk paint. That's what I love about it. It dries so fast. But it's not cured. I wasn't super worried about that because I was going kind of for a farmhouse rustic feel. So if I went over it and pulled some paint up, it wasn't that big of a deal. So now after it's all dry, all the panels are painted, I'm going to wet distress. This is my favorite way of distressing things. So chalk paint is water soluble. So all you need to do is take a wet towel and just start rubbing off paint where you want it. It pulls off the paint in the perfect places. I really love wet distressing. I'm not huge on using sandpaper unless it's like wood, but it still kind of does a little too much for me. So now I'm taking the E6000 hot glue combination, just putting dots in the corners and gluing the glass back in. So I wanted to leave this part in and show you this because I make the mistakes so you don't have to. I don't recommend putting the glass back in on a piece this large. So I have one in my living room that is 4x6 frames, and it's 12 of them, and that's all it is. It's just one panel, and I have the glass in that, and it works great. But I actually ended up having to take all the glass out of this one. It was much too heavy, and it was just snapping the frames. So luckily, the damage wasn't terrible, and I actually was able to fix it just fine, but I just don't suggest doing that. If you do want to do that, I would suggest not gluing the panels together. So right now, I am gluing the panels together. I'm just placing them where I want it and putting hot glue and E6000 everywhere where the frames overlap. I put some weights on it, let it dry overnight, and hung it up. And here it is. I love this so much. It just tied everything together in the room. The wall, like, I'm just so thrilled that it's not bare anymore. I did decorate it with some wreaths that I made. I think I'm going to take those down because they are a little disproportionate. They're not large enough for it. So I kind of want to do like maybe some larger boxwood wreaths, or not do ones on the smaller panels and do a wreath on each large panel. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Give me your suggestions on how I should decorate this, but I absolutely love it. I am thrilled with how it turned out.
But that is it. Tell me what you guys think of it. I'm so proud of this piece. It took me, like I said, almost 2 weeks. So let me know down in the comments what you think of it. And thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. God bless.